Welcome to Stream Street College CRS class. In our previous lesson, we looked at the order of creation, also known as systematic or sequence of creation. We stated that the world was created in 6 days. Day 1, light. Day 2, sky or the firmament. Day 3, land, sea, and vegetation. Day 4, sun, moon, and stars were created. Day 5, fish, sea creatures, and birds. Day 6, land animals, man and woman were created. Day 7, God rested. Today, we turn to the second creation account in Genesis chapter 2, verse 4b to 25, also known as the Yahwist account. The account is quite distinct from the first creation story in Genesis chapter 1, both in structure, which refers to the arrangement, not in the same way as seen in the first creation story, and in emphasis. Emphasis here means details of how the world was created. First, let us note the state of the world before creation. According to the account, the earth was barren. There was no plants and no rain. The land was dry, and there was no man to till the ground. Instead, a stream or mist rose from the earth to water the soil. The description set the stage for God's creative action, emphasizes the lifelessness of the earth before man's arrival. The first creative act in this account is the creation of man. God formed man from the dust of the ground, highlighting man's earthly nature and dependence. Then God breathed into man's nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Unlike the first creation account, where man is created last, here man is created first, which underlines his central role in the narrative. Now let's look at how the Garden of Eden was planted by God himself. After creating man, God provided a special environment for him, the Garden of Eden. God himself planted this garden, and he placed man in it to till it and keep it. The garden contained all kinds of trees that were both pleasing to the eye and good for food. At the center of the garden stood two important trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Again, let us also consider other features within the second creation story. The garden was watered by a river that flowed out of Eden and then divided into 4 rivers. The names of the rivers are as follows. 1. Pishon. 2. Gihon. 3. Tigris. And the 4th, Euphrates. This description gives the story a geographical and almost historical character, linking Eden to real places such as Iraq, Syria, Turkey, Sudan, and Ethiopia. After God placed man in the Garden of Eden, God then gave man a command. Man was free to eat from all the trees of the garden except one, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God warned man that on the day he ate from it, he would surely die. This introduces the theme of freedom and responsibility. Man is free, but he must obey God's words. Then we'll look at another thing that was created, which is the creation of animals. God created animals and birds in the sky. This was after man had been created and was placed in the Garden of Eden. The Lord God had planted. After the animals were created, they were brought to Adam, and he named them. It is important to note that Adam was the one who named all the animals, including Eve, his wife. Man was given dominion, authority, and was to take care of the created things. After the creation of animals, then we come to the next creation, which is the creation of woman. The account addresses the creation of woman. God observed that it was not good for man to be alone. So God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. And while man slept, God took one of his ribs and closed up its place with flesh. This was the first surgery performed in the history of humanity. God formed woman and brought her to the man. Adam recognized her immediately as bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh, as recorded in Genesis chapter 2, verse 23. Again, there was institution of marriage in the second creation account. The narrative closes with a statement that a man leaves his father and mother, joins to his wife, and the two becomes one flesh. Genesis 2:24. Marriage is therefore a divine institution. God intended man and a woman to be in a union. Remember that marriage as instituted by God was between Adam and Eve, male and female, and not Adam and another man, male and male, nor was it between Eve and another woman, female and female. The divine institution of marriage, as intended by God, is between Adam and Eve, that is, male and a female. In conclusion, the Yahweh's account of creation is more earth-centered and relational than the first account. It begins with barren land, introduces man as the first creation, places him in the prepared garden called Eden, sets limits through God's command, and concludes with the creation of woman as a companion. The focus here is not so much on the systematic or order of creation, but on human life, responsibility, and relationships. In our next lesson, we will look at the differences and similarities between the first and the second creation accounts. See you in our next video.